Hello, everyone. My name is Clarissa, and I am basically starting these videos to help um, women who have had a miscarriage and are pregnant again, and also for women who are maybe pregnant for the first time, or maybe if you're pregnant for the third time or whatever, however many times. Um, so it can be a pretty scary thing if you're pregnant after a miscarriage, especially if you haven't been pregnant, you haven't had a successful pregnancy before. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna tell you guys a little bit about myself, and you guys can feel free to post any questions that you have for me, or post your own stories. That's perfectly fine. So, back in January 8th to be precise, me and my fiance were pregnant with our first child. Well, we found out December 1st, actually. And we were pretty excited, a little anxious. We were just moving into our first place and, trying to plan our wedding. So we were anxious, definitely. We were very excited. We were happy. So we set up our first appointment with just my regular doctor, my GYN, and just all the little stuff confirmed that I was pregnant, and gave me an estimated due date of August 3rd, and told me it was about 6 weeks along. So that was pretty cool. So she told us like 2 weeks from then we could make our first appointment with the OB for our first ultrasound. So we're pretty excited about that. And it was about 2.5 weeks later that I was actually, almost 3 weeks, that I was actually able to schedule an appointment with my OB. And we went in, and we were just actually told that we were 9 weeks exactly on that day. So they were going to do the ultrasound, and she did the ultrasound, but I wasn't 9 weeks, I was 6 weeks. So that was kind of, for me, that was kind of like a red flag. Like, that's 3 weeks off of what we originally thought. If it was maybe like 1 or 2 weeks, I wouldn't have been too concerned, but the fact that 3 weeks, that just didn't seem normal to me. So she said it was most likely the way that I ovulated. It was nothing to worry about. They just calculated my due date incorrectly and how far along I was. So I was a little cautious, but I figured, hey, she says everything's fine. She says that this happened, so no problem. And it was about a week later, I started spotting, but I didn't realize I was spotting because it wasn't pink or it wasn't red. It was very light. So I kind of pushed it aside and thought it was nothing, thought nothing of it. And we figured, since our appointment went very well, she saw a heartbeat and she said everything looked great, that we could tell our family. And I knew it was still early, but I figured nothing's going to go wrong, so it's okay to tell people. So it was around Christmas time, so we figured at Christmas, when the whole family's together, we would just tell everyone. It'd be the perfect time, everyone's together. So we told everyone, they were happy, and maybe about 4 days after I started spotting first, which I didn't realize at the time that I was spotting, it was heavy. It was like a heavy spotting, and that's when a big red flag went off, and I went to the emergency room right away, and they did an ultrasound. Everything looked good. They found a heartbeat. Nothing out of the ordinary. They did some cultures, just examined me, They said everything looked fine. It, but to still be cautious because it could be the start of a miscarriage. But they assured me that it's perfectly normal for women to have spotting during pregnancy. That a lot of women have spotting and they go on to have beautiful pregnancy, beautiful baby in 9 months, and not to worry. So I didn't worry. Um, the the spotting had stopped after a couple days, so me and my fiance were at ease. Spotting stopped. They said everything was fine, so I figured, okay, it was just normal spotting. So I had a David's bridal appointment, and they had put me on bed rest, so I was off of work for 3 days, and I had a David's bridal appointment with all my bridesmaids to pick out dresses for them. And I was feeling weird that day. Something felt off. It just didn't feel, something didn't feel right. And I couldn't really figure out what it was, but I knew something just wasn't okay. And we went out to eat afterwards for lunch. And before we left, I decided to go to the bathroom, and I was spotting again, but this time it was a little different. I won't go into detail or anything, but it scared me. So instead of freaking out and going to the emergency room right away like I did last time for no reason apparently, I called my doctor, who was on duty at the hospital. The hospital not nearest me, but at her hospital, obviously. And she said, "It sounds like you're probably having a miscarriage." And now this is Saturday, so she tells me to wait until Monday to come in when the office is open, and they'll schedule me for a emergency. I'm sorry, for an emergency viewing, emergency appointment. And I'm thinking, that is 2 days from now. It's Saturday. I do not want to wait 2 days to find out what's going on. I mean, I want to know now. You say, you tell me it sounds like I'm having a miscarriage. Why would I want to wait 2 days? So, not really, you know, following too good of a direction. I just went to the emergency room. I figured I wanted to know then and there what's going on. Um, so we went to the emergency room, and we had another ultrasound done, and the doctor didn't have the monitor pointed towards me the whole time. I couldn't see what was going on. My fiance was able to watch. He was standing behind her, and he was able to see everything. And she was printing out picture after picture after picture, maybe about 4 or 5 pictures that she had printed out, and I was able to see those coming out of the side of the monitor. And compared to our ultrasound that we had at 6 weeks, it just looked so different in a bad way. You could tell that it wasn't normal. It looked just lifeless. You could see the baby, but um, it didn't seem like there was life in there at all. So after about 15 minutes of looking and looking and looking, not saying anything, she turns to me and she says, "Sweetie, I'm not finding a heartbeat." And just uh, I didn't know how to react to that. I laid there, and um, it was very hard to take that news. And she said, just the pregnancy, it's not a viable pregnancy anymore. She can't find a heartbeat. She's going to look a little further, so she looked about 5 more minutes, and she said there's just no heartbeat, and the amniotic sac appears to be collapsed. So, it's just not viable. That's what she kept saying. The pregnancy isn't viable anymore, and I hate that term. I don't know why it just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like that she kept saying the pregnancy isn't viable anymore. I don't like that. Um, I guess I was just upset. I was in shock. I was in denial. I didn't kind of brushed it off really fast and thought, she's wrong. She missed something. She missed the heartbeat. I'm 6. She was, she also told me that the baby was still 6 weeks. So that was still a red flag, but I figured, there's something going on, but the baby's still alive. I mean, still has a beating heart. So I thought, okay, that's fine. I'm going to go to my doctor on Monday, and she's going to confirm that everything's okay, that the baby has a heartbeat, and I'm just going to mind my business for the next 2 days, like nothing's going on, like baby's perfectly healthy, that the doctor just missed something. So we go in on Monday, and my doctor does the ultrasound, and she she can't find a heartbeat either. And this is when she pulled out my old ultrasound from the last 3.5, 4 weeks ago, and she says that it just doesn't even look the same. That the baby has actually shrunk to about 5.5 weeks. And again, since I had heard this news on Saturday, I wasn't. I guess I was still in shock. I didn't really know how to react to it. So, we had a little bit of a cry, and then got dressed. We went home. She gave me a paper on all of my options. I was given 3 options: to let my body pass the baby by itself, just do it natural. There was another one with pills that would kind of jumpstart everything. And then there was a D&C, which is when they basically just go in surgically and just remove everything that way. I chose to wait for my body to do it on its own. I didn't want a D&C, and I just didn't want to take pills to jumpstart anything. I figured it's probably best if my body does this on its own. So she said she would want to see me back in 2 weeks. If if nothing has happened, or if something has happened, to make sure everything's out. And if not, she would give me the pills. And if that didn't work, she would then do a D&C. So that night, actually, I dropped my fiance off at work, and around 5:40 in the afternoon, I started getting some lower back pain. So I went upstairs. I went to the bathroom, and there was blood. So it wasn't a lot or anything, but there was blood, and it was fresh. It wasn't like my spotting. So I knew that it was starting. I had lower back pain, and now I'm starting to bleed. So it was pretty obvious what was going on. So to take my mind off of it, I started cooking dinner. Um, I cooked my fiance steak with mashed potatoes and green beans, and acted like nothing was happening. I I don't know how other women act when they're going through something like this. I guess everyone's different, but I guess I'm still in that denial stage where I'm shocked, where I don't know how to react to it. So to take my mind off of it, I cooked dinner, and I picked him up from work, and by that point, the cramps in my lower back had moved around to my hips, and then moved to the front of my belly, my lower abdomen. And he ate his dinner, and I ate like half of my dinner, because by that time I didn't really want to eat anything. I didn't want to move. Um, I went through 9.5 hours of like contractions, and it really wasn't that bad until maybe the last 30 minutes. And that was the most excruciating part, was the last 30 minutes um, before I passed the baby. I mean, anything before then, the contractions would get more intense, and they would last a little longer, but I had that break between the contractions, so it really wasn't too bad to me. So that last 30 minutes though was, I've never been in that much pain in my entire life. And I never want to go through something like that again. Um, After the baby was passed, it was January 8th, 2013, about 1:32 a.m. And we decided to name the baby. We felt it was the right thing to do. He or she existed, and we loved him or her. And so we gave the baby a name, and we went on trying to live life as normal as we possibly could. Anyone who's been through a miscarriage knows it's not something that's easy. It's something that's really hard. Um, I don't know about anyone out there, but I replayed, and I still do, and it's April 30th, and I replay everything that happened from day one, finding out we were pregnant, to the end when we had the miscarriage. I replay everything, trying to figure out what happened, what went wrong, when did it go wrong. It's just really nerve-wracking because you don't have that kind of closure that you want. You don't know what happened, and you will most likely never know, and it's just something that just bothers you so much. So back in March, I missed the period, and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified because I was not emotionally ready to go through this again. I was not emotionally ready to get pregnant again and take that risk again of having another miscarriage. Um, so I took a pregnancy test. It came out positive. I took another one. Same thing, came out positive. And like I said, I was just terrified, absolutely terrified. So I immediately scheduled an appointment with my GYN. She took, the usual blood tests and the pregnancy tests. Everything came out positive. She said my hormone levels were just great, that they were better than last time in my blood work. So she said she felt that there was no need to have another blood test done. And that didn't really ease my mind yet, because I don't think anything's going to ease my mind at this point. We had set up an ultrasound with the OB, and at that point I was supposed to be 7 weeks. So it was nerve-wracking. Every moment of the day I'm thinking, oh my god, we're going to go into that doctor's office, we're going to have the ultrasound, and I'm going to be like 5 weeks, or I'm going to be 4 weeks. I'm not going to be 7 weeks. And it's just terrifying because here we go again, like thinking that we're going to go through this all over again. And I don't want to go through it all over again. So we went in for our ultrasound at 7 weeks, and come to find out, baby 7 weeks. Everything looks good. Everything feels great. Baby has a healthy heartbeat, and me and my fiance cried. We just cried. We were so relieved. This huge weight was like lifted off of our shoulders because we could now breathe a little easier. Oh, okay, everything's on track. So we decided not to tell my family yet. We told them so early last time that we decided we're going to wait a little bit this time. And then we had our next ultrasound at 9 weeks. And we were pretty excited because we hadn't made it that far before. Last time we didn't make it that far. And we got to see the baby move. And it was the most amazing thing I have ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen something so amazing. I don't know how any other women feel out there, but seeing your baby move for the first time at such a young age is just an amazing thing. I don't think I've ever been truly, truly amazed before ever, and now I have. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting, and it looks like a little baby, and it's great, great heartbeat, and so I'm 10 weeks now, and we just told our family. Everyone's pretty excited. We're still cautious. I'm a little uh, leery because the doctor told me to come back in 4 weeks, which is 3 weeks now, but I don't want to come back in 4 weeks. I don't know how anyone else would feel about that. You can leave comments, but how do you feel about coming back in 4 weeks? I mean, that's a whole month. And I feel like after having a miscarriage, I don't know, maybe I'm being paranoid, but I don't want to wait a whole 4 weeks before I see my baby again. I want to make sure everything's okay. I mean, I want to see my doctor every other week, every week. I don't know. Something to where I'm going to get that comfort knowing that my baby's okay. So, but we'll see. In 4 weeks, I'll be 13 weeks. Well, in 3 weeks now, I'll be 13 weeks. Um, that'll be pretty exciting. And I guess, well, I'm gonna keep you guys posted. I'll try to post every week, but I'll definitely be posting every other week, at least, or at the most, um, just depending on how many comments, questions I get. So for anyone who's pregnant for the first time, or pregnant after a miscarriage and you're scared or you have questions, if you have questions, if you're going through this symptom right now, and if you want to know if I'm going through it, is it normal? You can ask me all the questions you want to, and I'll be glad to answer. I'll be glad to support anyone who's going through a miscarriage, or just again, who's pregnant after a miscarriage, or who's pregnant for the first time, because it's pretty exciting. So I guess I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.